Chapter 8, Fixing Old Bonds and Old Flames. Wow.
Holy smokes.
Hey y'all, Foxhound back at it again with Chapter 8 of the Oh, right, this is... Okay, this guy renamed the story, by the way. The Demon of Death was not the first name of the story. So it was originally called The Demon Arrives from the Sky.
I think that's actually a worse title. I'm not even sure which is worse. Yeah, I think that is a worse title.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Or TDAF...
I mean, the Demon of Death... The Demon of Death has its own, like, angsty kind of feeling, but the Demon that arrives in the sky, there's just something about it.
Yeah.
Alright, continue.
Or TDAFTS for short. Anyway, you all know the drill by now. Read and review and let me know how you think. Disclaimer.
Oh, I'll hat you think.
As we're all aware, the Crash series is not mine and never will be. Are you sure about that?
I wasn't aware of this. I wasn't aware of this. Are you serious? Does it actually say that?
I don't know. I think you should go search that up.
Shoot.
Well, we're going to get into this chapter. Chapter 8. Tana stood still for a moment as her eyes locked with a man she never thought she would see again. There, standing not 10 feet away, was her old friend and ex, Crash Bandicoot.
Why would she not... Whatever.
She took a moment to clear her head before she greeted Crash's group with a smile. Well, this is unexpected. Never thought I'd see you again, Crash.
Man, they're really emphasizing that. They're really emphasizing that over and over again.
Tana said to the Bandicoot in question, winking as she did, making him blush as he scratched the back of his neck. Nice to see you again too, Tana. Oh my god, Jack took note of the exchange and put it in the back of the mind before letting the two know they weren't alone.
I think this is the author's concept of speed dating at this point.
I like how he just has like zero compassion or thought. Like he's just like, oh yeah, two friends reuniting after a long time. Oh, but they aren't paying attention to me, so I might as well remind them that I'm here.
Yes. Oh my god, I didn't even acknowledge that. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
I was pointing at the fact that the author was shipping these two characters in like one paragraph, essentially.
I know. It's like, why is he doing this? Like, what's the purpose of this? Like, who cares at all?
He forgot it was. He just remembered it was the Crash Bandicoot series.
It's like, oh yeah, I guess I should do something with this character. Tana was the first to notice as she jumped from being startled. Oh, Jack, I didn't hear about you coming tonight, boss. However,
sorry, I'm having a hard time right now.
As that sentence left her lips, she noticed everyone, minus Jack and his parents, giving her odd stares. What? She asked, confused.
Oh my god, I forgot the fact this entire story is him explaining himself. Oh, I'm sorry. He even forgot about the fact he was shipping these two characters together and just wanted to go back to Jacktown.
Yeah, of course, yeah. He used to make himself the center of attention all the time. Jack decided to speak then, getting every one of the Bandicoot's attention. Oh yeah, I guess I never did tell you guys, did I? Jack said.
Oh, he's so smug.
Jack said, which just got more confused looks than the others. Sigh. I guess I better explain, he muttered before clearing his throat. The restaurant we're at, I'm its owner.
Oh my god, why did he sigh? I guess I better explain. That is the entire fan fiction in one line. And it's like, oh man, it's such an inconvenience to explain something that's big, you know, because he's just such a, I'm sorry.
I also like how he spent the entire day explaining his stupid, shitty backstory, then realized, and then it's like, oh, it's Coco's birthday that I've been spending all this time doing, and then decides to take her to a restaurant he already owns, just to make it even more about him.
That is really awful. Also, is as the owner, has he done anything for this business in this entire story? Like, it definitely seems like he's the type of business owner that just takes money and has nothing to do with the business. Like,
Yeah,
what is
like why does
going
he even
on
own a
here?
restaurant? Like, what does that add to anything? Like his character or the
What
story?
does that? Well, he's also like the best car mechanic ever, apparently, too.
Yeah. Oh my god. Ugh. All right, let's see. Wait, if that's true, then that would mean you're
He
Tana's.
then trailed off. You
Oh,
forgot about that.
oh yeah. He then trailed off as Crash suddenly spoke, a look of realization on his face. Doesn't even make sense. Wait, if that's true, then that would mean you're Tana as Crash trailed off. As he looked at his ex in
So,
shock, the female Bandicoot just nodded, saying, "Yeah, he's my boss." Chuckling a bit as Crash suddenly
oh.
face vaulted.
We're
You're
like we keep circling around the same points over and over again about like how amazing he is and oh man, I'm the boss. You're the boss? Yeah, that's right. I'm the boss.
Of course. Well, we have to
Ugh.
know that Jack's important in this story. There can't be a single space within this world story that exists without Jack being the most important person ever.
He's literally God already. Why does he even need to have like a
Yeah,
restaurant?
he literally fucking created the Big Bang and he needs to own a restaurant, I guess, because that's just what he's passionate about. Ugh. Anyways, you're kidding, Coco asked, half surprised and half amused at the sudden turn of events. Jack just laughed as he shook his head.
Ugh.
As he turned to address Tana, "I'm not here on business tonight, Tana. I'm just out here to have a night with my family and to celebrate Coco's birthday." He said as he gave his wife a happy smile. Okay, that's...
Yeah, so much about building that relationship thing that you were talking about. Just
Dude,
immediate wife and
I,
I didn't talk about that last chapter, but
I'm just gonna add on to this for like 5 more seconds.
yes.
First of all, if I
Yes.
was in Coco's position, doesn't that at all come off as completely creepy and manipulative? That you've known a guy for 2 days, and then after that, you just are like, oh yeah, we've actually, like, I knew, like, an alternate reality version of you, and we fell in love? Wouldn't that, like, paint the context of all the previous situations with, like, a whole different light? Like, oh wow, he was just doing that because we were already dating, and he's, like, hung up on this dead version of me. And second of
I
all... Second of all, what does that say about the free will of Coco? Because, like, even though it's the second reincarnation of the universe, they're technically different people. Like Coco, the Coco in this one isn't the same Coco that married Jack. She's a different fucking human being. Like, obviously she's like the same person, but she's not the exact same person. Like that really
what
like...
if Jack was trying to manipulate events to the point where it happened the exact same way as the prior universe or something?
Well, that's what I would think if I was Coco. I'd be like, wow, he's just completely manipulating me to make me feel this way. Like, I would not be comfortable with that at all. Especially now that he's fucking considering him his wife already. Anyways,
Ugh.
I just, I'm done with this Coco wife bullshit. This is like that's like my least favorite aspect of this whole story. It's just so
Oh,
creepy and
good. All
weird.
right. All right.
Anyways, in that next moment, Tana snagged Coco in a hug. "Oh, I totally forgot." "Happy birthday, Coco," she squealed as Coco returned the hug. "Thanks, Tana," Coco said before returning to Jack's side, taking his hand in hers once more.
Yeah, return. All right.
After taking a moment to gain control over herself,
I doubt
Twana
that.
Tawana quickly ushered the group over to the bar where she was stationed. While the groups looked through the menu, Jack thought that now would be a good time to get some answers to the exchange he saw earlier. "Hey Tana, yeah boss. So they're just sitting at the bar for dinner? Whatever. If you don't mind me asking, what's the story between you and Crash?" Jack noticed Tana tense up for a moment as well as Crash before Jack quickly elaborated. "When you two greeted each other when we walked in, it seemed like you two already knew each other before now. But shouldn't Jack already know this?"
Well, I guess the employees' personal lives are not his business.
"I guess. But, like, he's known Crash, before, you know what? Whatever. I'm just not.
Why would he question them about anything in this entire story? Why would he even like, literally like every nothing in this story makes any sense with his backstory
I mean,
whatsoever.
I just think like if he's already known, like married to Coco in the previous universe, didn't this already happen, or is this an event that's exclusive to this reincarnation of the universe?
Do you think in the previous universe Jack married Coco like not even that long in their relationship and didn't really know Coco and Crash that much
That would be so
in
fucking
their
weird.
personal lives?
That would be weird and creepy. So probably yes. Oh, anyways, Tana sighed for a moment before mustering up the courage to speak. Crash and I were ounce a couple until we ended the relationship. Oh, really now? It's been 6 years since then, as of today, was the moment.
That is a weird way to say that sentence.
Just reminds me of that Mankey Vice chapter.
That does feel like something that I would write redundantly.
Tana said, I also like how that's a great explanation. Crash and I were in a couple and then we broke up. Like, yeah, I think you could piece that together. Tana said as
Yeah.
she glanced. Oh, sorry. Twana said as she glanced at Crash, giving him a clear view of her light green eyes that gave off the feeling of pain, regret, and guilt all in one expression.
You do realize that people break up for reasons, right? Like they're not
Yeah.
just like broke up for no reason and they're like regretting it for whatever. I don't even know what's going on. That explanation doesn't explain anything for what they're trying to do.
I see, Jack said, looking thoughtfully. Don't you two regret breaking up? Coco suddenly spoke, grabbing the pair's attention. What do you mean,
This is a really
Coco?
private thing that you two are explaining in front of
Yeah, you're
everyone.
like very much getting into this with that. Well, like they're clearly not really like in the mood to talk about this, you know?
Hey, Crash, what was wrong with your relationship with Twana?
Six
You know,
years
just like
ago.
6 years ago, right in front of everyone for some reason.
What do you mean, Coco? Crash asked, wanting to hear his sister out. I mean, don't you think you could have worked things out between the two of you? You don't know how you broke up. Anyways, it's not good for the two of you to keep avoiding each other and bottling up your guilt like this. You haven't seen each other in 6 years. Okay, whatever. It's not like you're standing beside each other all day by day. It's like you just moved to different parts of the country. Like, it's fine not to see each other after you break up. Like, that's not a problem. The two stared at each other for a second that seemed like forever. Until
Of
Jack
course.
until Jack spoke up again.
Of course
She's
he did.
she's right, you know. Oh, thanks, Jack. You really
Yeah, you
needed your
freaking
opinion.
idiot. Jack's so justified to the point where he's like, no, no, you two are supposed to be together, period. You are getting together. Like, this is my opinion. Like, Jack is so important in this story that he's even determining other people's relationships in it.
Not getting any response out of the two, he continued. You can try and keep your guilt bottled up, but one day, sooner or later, that cork is gonna pop.
It's none of your freaking business,
Yeah, it
Jack.
really
You're
is
such a-
not any of these people's business at all. Twada noticed Crash sigh for a moment before he spoke up again. You're right, Jack. Of course he is.
Of course he is.
I know bottling up guilt is never good because it changes you, warps your way of thinking. Okay, first of
Yeah, you're
all,
such-
this character turn for Crash has not been established or set up at all. Like they make him out like he's like a tortured. He's been living with this guilt, and he's it's changed the way he's lived. But all before this, he's just been like completely normal and like just like a regular Crash Bandicoot. He hasn't been like angsty or anything, or
He
has
hasn't
any
really
like
had a character
indications.
game. He just asks the guy to explain things and just he's been the yes man this entire story and he still is. And like literally like this it's so freaking dumb. He in this part of the section he's like, "Oh yeah, you're right. I'm at fault for us breaking up." Yeah, that's right. Like it oh my god. It's darn it, dude. They're really trying to like put down Crash, the entire franchise, main character. They're trying to put him down to the pits of Tartarus as they raise up Jack to the heavens, man. Like, this is so terrible.
Oh, Crash trailed off, of course, as he
Of
looked
course he
on as
did.
Twana. Why is he calling her Twana now? It's like he fucked up the spelling like once, and now he's just like keeping with that. Looked Twana square in the eye because that exact situation happened to me. Really? I thought that was what's implied with what you're talking about. Tana gasped in shock as she took in this new information. Taking in. You're joking. Crash shook his head. The grim look out. Okay, what is this? Crash shook his head. The grim look not ounce leaving his face. I wish it could have been a joke. Tana looked a moment to choose.
You're a
her
joke,
words
Crash.
carefully. What happened to you? She asked, the question coming out like a whisper upon the wind. Really? Is now
So
the time
poetic.
to get fancy with your writing? Crash thought back for a moment on what happened that day before explaining. It started a day after we broke up. You left the island. I was still reeling in the shock of you leaving. Crash sighed to himself as he worked up the courage to continue. All it took was one day for my emotions to go nuts and make me spiral out of control. And by the 6th day, I was so far gone that I didn't want anyone around me anymore.
I don't know what's going on. I'm
So,
gonna be honest.
so
What
is
is
the
he
only
talking
type
about?
of like angst this guy knows how to write is emotionally unstable characters going on like dangerous rampages, spiraling out of control. So that's kind of
Is he
exactly what
depressed or
happened.
something?
I guess.
Is the reason why they broke up was because Crash is depressed one day and everyone's like super pressuring and like blaming Crash for being like super wrong,
Well,
you know?
he went nuts and spiraled out of control, and then he was so far gone that I didn't want anyone around me.
If this was a mental issue, if this was a mental issue, then why are we like shaming and like blaming Crash so much in this one scenario that happened
Yeah,
6 years ago? Like this sounds very like imagine never mind, I'm not gonna go there. Go on.
let's see. Coco then spoke up. After 6 days, I just couldn't stand seeing him like that, so I had to go and smack him upside the head and knock some sense into him. Yeah, that's what you should do.
Ah,
Tana
the
giggled.
clearly
Huh?
clearly that's clearly how you just cure whatever mental
Deal
any
with
mental
somebody
illness,
who's dealing
really.
with a lot of
Depression,
enough anguish to
anything.
make him spiral out of control and completely isolate himself from his friends. Well,
Wow,
Tana,
that yes, go on. This is so
Tana,
dumb.
Tana giggled a little at that. Really? She asked as she looked over to Crash, who was smiling in.
Yeah, really? Really, author? Really?
If by smack you mean knock me into a wall, then yes, you did knock some sense into me. The group
So
laughed
it's
at
just
that,
about
making
violence.
the mood go from sad to chipper again.
Oh, good. Oh,
You
good. I'm
like
glad that
does this person not realize how awful that comes off?
yes.
That Crash basically is like completely going through complete mental anguish and depression, and then Coca like knocked him into a wall, and apparently that's just like funny. Like that's just a funny way to treat someone going through that. Like really?
It kind of sounds like the author doesn't really even believe in like mental illness or something like that.
Well, obviously
And
Crash
it's
was just
like,
a little sad. It's fine.
this is so. Go on.
The rest of the night went on uneventfully until Jack and the others were about
Oh,
to
of
head
course.
out when Tawana pulled Crash aside, seemingly to talk to him privately. What do you think they're talking about? Coco asked her husband. Her husband quizzically. No clue. I'm glad we need to know Jack's reaction to what's going on.
Well, that's the
Even
one
if he
that
doesn't know
matters.
what's going on at all. What's this about Tana? Crash asked as Tana looked to be lost in thought. Knowing what happened to you after I left, I'm beginning to regret that decision. That's... Crash eyes went wide again. You don't mean, Tana nodded. I want you to go through that. I don't want you to go through that again. Let's get back together.
It happened 6 years ago. He's over. Whatever.
First of all, that happened 6 years ago. Second of all, that's a terrible reason to get back together with someone. Like,
so what happened? Can I ask what happened? So she just sort of left him, and it was Crash's fault.
No, she just left him, and Crash went crazy because of it.
And then Crash was crazy. Crash was at fault for being crazy after she left him.
Well, I guess he was just sad and emotionally and mentally unstable after Tana left him. And she's decided to hook back up with Crash, not because she actually likes him, but just because she feels bad for making Crash go through that.
6 years ago.
6 years ago. And he's pretty much over it now, anyways.
Wow. All right.
That is awful. I mean, I think it's already assumed that this guy knows nothing about relationships and what, like, good relationships look like, but
yeah,
that's just really fucked up, honestly. Anyways, there's Chapter 8 done. I think it turned out good. Oh, so did I. Let me know what you think in a review. Foxhound out. Well, that was shit.